Welcome to Caldwell County Today. I'm Paige Counts, Public Information Officer for Caldwell County. Joining me today is Brian Davis, Seth Nagy, and Wayne Rash. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
And y'all are here to talk about an important event coming up in May. Tell us what we have coming up. Seth?
We have the household hazard, the first ever Caldwell County Hazardous Household Waste Disposal Day. That's what we have coming up.
Okay, when is it?
It will be May 21st.
Okay.
That'll be a Saturday. We're going to start at 9 a.m. and go to 1 o'clock.
Brian, what is this event? What's it about?
Of course, everybody knows that lives here in the county, we have 9 convenience sites that take household waste. A lot of things that we do not take is things like household pesticides, gasoline, paint. We have a lot of need for paint. Then also, a lot of people call in about fluorescent light bulbs, what to do with those. And so with that, we have STAT incorporated down on 321, which you can take that kind of material to any time. So we worked with those guys, and that's how we've come up with this household hazardous waste event day, so that we can, at one time, people can bring those type of items in, and there's no cost involved with that. You just, it'll be a drive-through. You come through, we get it out of your vehicle, send you on, wish you a good day.
Where did the idea for this event come from?
It was kind of a collaboration. I was in a meeting with several people from North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, the air, DEQ. And so one thing in that event led to another, and it was mainly I had questions about polystyrene and how to dispose of that because it doesn't break down in the landfill. And so the folks that I was in a meeting with started talking about a household hazardous waste event where they can dispose of such material. And then I started talking with Seth because I know he has a pesticide collection event annually. And so that's how it kind of morphed into what we've got now. And then we reached out to Wayne because we know he does the shredding event. And so we want to do something like this so that everybody can come at one time and capture everything.
Okay, Seth, talk to us a little bit about the pesticides that'll be collected.
Okay, so it turns out that pesticides are a great tool. And if they're used properly, there's not a concern for the environment. However, sometimes either you buy more, you have something extra left over, and what do you do with it? If you just keep holding on to it, the product could go bad. Some pesticides, for example, say don't let them freeze, so the efficacy could be diminished. So you just want to dispose of that, and that's what this event is. When pesticide companies or crop protection companies register products in North Carolina, they pay a small fee. There's a lot of products that get registered, and then that money gets used for a variety of things, one of which is to fund these disposal days. So any pesticide that's collected, it'll be covered by North Carolina Department of Agriculture. They'll be able to cover for the disposal of that, and the best way is to use the product as it's outlined on the label. The next best is to bring it and have it disposed of at an event like this. If somebody has, let's just say, a barn full of stuff, more than, a bunch of things, we can actually send a truck right to their location and pick it up because, you don't want you don't want something falling off the truck or something just not in good transportation. Sometimes what happens, folks will have some old jugs or some old something, could even be glass. If it's leaky or you're not quite sure it's going to hold together, just put it inside a 5-gallon bucket and carry it on in that way. So we can work with about anything. If people aren't sure, the best thing is to give our office a call. We'll work with you and get it disposed of. Because the last thing we want is for one of these good tools that we can use to control things to get in the news and unfortunately, if it was bad, it gets it leaks, it causes a problem, it does something it's not supposed to. It's a tool, and they're very valuable, and we want to make sure that they're used properly, and when they're not needed, we can get rid of them.
Wayne, you've been waiting very patiently. You host a shredded event, and you will be participating in the May 21st activities. Tell us about the shredded piece
Sure.
of this.
So for a number of years, we've done a shredding event, usually a couple of times a year. So I was really happy when Brian and Seth came to me and said, "Why don't we combine this with what we're doing?" It's a wonderful chance for folks to bring out a lot of different items at one time. And so, yes, our portion of it is we'll have a shredding truck there. We invite folks to bring anything they would like to have shredded, old bank statements, old tax documents, anything that has an. I tell folks if it's got a name, an address, or social security number, account number, anything like that, you probably shouldn't be throwing it in the trash. This day and age, there are so many folks who want to steal identities and apply for credit in people's names, and this is just one more way we can help people protect against that. So bring it, bag stuff up, put it in a box. Whatever's easy for you to do, bring it that day. We'll have folks there to help you get it out of your car. You can watch us, we put it in a bin, it puts it right in the truck, and so it gets shredded right there in front of you. It's not hauled off anywhere with the back open so it could fly out down the road or anything like that. It'll be shredded right there in front of folks, and so it'll be permanently destructed. And the only thing we ask is, in the past, it is a household event. We ask folks, limit the number of boxes, bags to about 4. We're not going to stand there and, count every single one, but it's not an event for businesses to bring their whole, several years worth of, of records to. It's a household event. If you need something like that, like Seth said, give us a call and we can put you in touch with the folks so they can come out to your business or that type of thing. But it is a household event. Bring your household items and we'll make sure that we get those shredded.
And Wayne mentioned limits. Are there limits for the hazardous waste or pesticides?
I'll let Seth go ahead with pesticides.
All right. There is no limit. It's unlimited. So The idea, if you do have a lot, again, make it easy on you and just send a truck right to your location and have it collected. Other than that, there's really not any limits. Sometimes people get a little bit confused. They put that umbrella of pesticides under fertilizers or other things. Certainly those things can be taken at this event. Ideally, though, if it's a pesticide, it will actually have an EPA registration number on it. So if you're not sure, ideally it should be in the original container, but if it isn't, we can still, again, we can work with you. If there's any questions, please just give us a call ahead of time. The ultimate goal is to get things that are pesticides out of the environment. And if it's not a pesticide, we can figure out whether it's through what Brian's effort is or whatever. But that's really the goal. So if you have questions, it'd be better just to give us a call. We're going to work with you. We're going to get it figured out. But that would, if you think, well, gosh, I'm not sure if I fit into these categories that I'm hearing right now, give a call. We'll work with you. We'll get it figured out, because this event is designed to get those kind of things out of the environment. So that's my advice. Let's see what Brian says.
Okay.
As far as the amount of paint, well, we ask that a household have no more than 5-gallon buckets of paint. Because whenever you start getting into quantities more than that, most of the time that's a professional's job. So most people around a residence, they were only going to have 3 or 4 gallon jugs where they've been painting at their house. So we ask that you kind of limit it to that. As far as your fluorescent light bulbs, a couple of boxes, just what is in most home most homes around the county. But there again, if you have any questions, feel free to call our office. Our office phone number at Facility Services is 757-3296, so that you can reach out to us at any time, and we'll help direct you as to what the do's and the don'ts, if you will, and the exact items that we can and cannot take. A lot of people have questions about electronics. What do we do with those? Each one of our convenience sites around the county, we take electronics every day at those convenience sites. Our Mount Hermon convenience site on the drag strip road, that site is the only site that we have that you can take used motor oil, antifreeze, or cooking oil. You can dispose of all three of those there. That's the only site that takes oil. So, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our office. We will be glad to answer your questions and help direct you. I had an email just yesterday. A lady wanted to know how she was to dispose of the needles, the sharps. She has to give herself medication. And so at this event, we will be, the Sheriff's Department will be there. They're going to be representing there and taking prescription drugs. If anyone has drugs from, say, a parent or a grandparent that has passed and you have a lot of their medications, you'll be able to bring those there so that we can dispose of those properly through the Sheriff's Department. Used needles, things of that nature, you can bring all that to this event.
If someone misses this event, how do you recommend they go about disposing of some of these items?
Catawba County's going to have another event, aren't they?
With shredding, there's other events around
Right.
that municipalities, other counties, yes, that do events there, so that would work for that. But I don't. Yeah, go ahead, guys.
One of the ways that, well, a couple of ways that you can dispose of paint. Of course, you can always open it up, set it outside, and let nature take its course, and it will eventually dry up. You can also put cat litter, absorb dry, into it so that it will dry it up. Then once it is dry, you can actually dispose of it. We just can't take liquids to the landfill or to the convenience sites. But once it is in a dry form, you can dispose of it there.
Anything you will not be accepting? I mean, I know you mentioned some earlier, but things that are on this is not something we're going to take list.
We will not accept tires. A lot of people want to know, how do you get rid of tires in the county? If you go up to the landfill, they have a designated spot. There's tractor trailers that sit there. There's no cost. You can take your tires up there, place them in the trailers at no cost. So we will not be taking tires. We will not be taking scrap metal. Metal you can take to the convenience sites. We have containers that are there at the convenience sites, all 9 of them, and you can dispose of your metal there. So those are kind of the big ticket items that a lot of people have in question. But if someone has anything that they say, well, what do I do with this? Feel free to reach out to any of our 3 offices. We'll be glad to help direct you in the proper way to dispose of that.
I'm going to ask this for all 3 of you. How would you encourage people to participate in this? What would you say to somebody that's like, yeah, I've got some stuff, but I may just put it in my trash can and haul it to the dump, or I may, even with my shredding, I may just take my chances. What would you say to them?
I would just say for the shredding part, certainly it's so important nowadays to protect your identity. Anything you can do to do that, we recommend. And so, you could throw it away, but it's not the smart way to do it. And I would strongly encourage folks not to. If you can do it at home, that's great. But so many folks save stuff up for a long time, and then it gets to be too much, and then it would take forever to shred it on their own. So we certainly recommend protecting yourself any way you can in this day and age. We have a lot of other tools that we've talked about on previous shows where we try to help folks protect their identity through, signing up for notices when things are recorded in our office and things of that nature. So we just want to help people protect, themselves. And so that's what our part of it is.
Before Seth goes,
Oh, sure.
will you tell us a little bit more about signing up for notices in your office while you're here? And
Oh, sure. Right, absolutely. So, the other big thing we deal with obviously public documents and things being filed in our office is, forged documents, deed theft. It's a big problem nationwide where folks are trying to claim properties that are not their own by filing fraudulent documents at the Register of Deeds offices. And it's actually happened several times in this state, even in some of our larger cities. And so we have a free property fraud alert system on our website. And our website is www.caldwellrod.org. caldwellrod.org, and you can go on there. It's on the homepage, Property Fraud Alert. You sign up. All you have to do is put an email address in and then list the names that you want to be alerted about. And what will happen is anytime a document is recorded in that name, you'll get a notification, an email notification. So you can say, hey, that was something that I wanted to have recorded, or, well, I don't know anything about that. And if you don't know anything about that, give us a call. And we'll help you figure it out what's going on. But it's a great way for folks to be alerted anytime something is recorded in our office with their name on it, and it's an absolutely free service. So recommend everybody to go online and do that. So it's just another way, like I said, that we're trying to help people protect their identity in this day and age. So public documents are, one of the greatest things that people use for identity theft, and so we're trying to do everything we can to help folks combat that.
Okay, Seth, now we'll pass the question to you. Now that Wayne's kind of taking us down a rabbit hole.
Right,
Sorry about that, Wayne.
That's okay.
Well, certainly I want to encourage folks, if they do have products, this is just a great way to get rid of it, get it out of your garage, your shed, whatever it is, your barn. So I'd encourage you to take advantage of it. If for some reason you can't, or you don't feel like you have enough to really make the journey, reach out to a friend or a neighbor and find out if they've got something and make the trip worthwhile. Caldwell County is a great place. We help each other out. We still act like civilized human beings. So let's practice that. So that would be my advice. If you can't make the event or you don't feel like you have enough, help your neighbor out. Certainly there are some permanent collection sites throughout the state for pesticides. So if somebody does miss the event, can sort of figure that part out, but it's pretty easy. Just show up and drop it off.
Brian?
Well, I think as citizens of the county, we have a responsibility. One of our responsibilities is to help protect our natural resources. So any waste that we generate, because all of us do, I think we're trying to put plans in action and have things like this event that will help people so that we can dispose of stuff properly the way it's supposed to be, to protect our natural resources, to protect our wildlife. And in doing all of that, it will actually help us to have a better quality of life. And we want to hopefully leave things better than we found them for our future generations. And so I just feel like as citizens of the county, we each need to step up and do our part.
Paige, one other thing, you think about this time of year is when we all think about cleaning out,
Right.
spring cleaning, clean out your house, clean out your buildings, your garages. And when you're doing that, you find all these things,
Right.
that we've all, set aside boxes of stuff we thought we'd shred later. We've set aside gallons of paint that we used part of them but never went back. We finished the project and had too much, pesticides, whatever it might be. And so what a great time to be able to do this in a time of the year that we're all cleaning out and trying to make our properties nicer and better and fresher. And then you think about also, as Brian said, we do have that responsibility, but also in this day and age, this is a free event.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
there's not much free, especially
Exactly.
with all the inflation and everything else going on in our world today. But it's a perfectly free event. People can come out, do the right thing, clean out, and then and get it disposed of for free.
Right. And it may be something that I know we have kind of bounced the idea around. Several counties, our neighboring counties, hold events like this. Sometimes they do it twice a year, one in the spring and one in the fall. So kind of depending on our turnout as to whether we will be doing it once a year or if we need to branch out and do it twice a year. But we do encourage everybody. It's a free event. And so if you've got something you need to dispose of, please don't hesitate.
I mean, there is a cost.
Right. There's a cost. There's a cost.
We're not going to be asking people that are dropping stuff off to be disposed of or shredded to incur that cost directly. So there is. I mean, I don't want to use
Yeah,
free.
Right.
Free to citizens.
Free to citizens, and it is good, and there are some really neat ways this is funded, and it makes sense. But I just didn't want the free to grow its own legs and people get confused.
Okay, you've opened the door, Seth. So how is this funded?
As I mentioned earlier, the pesticides, when they're registered in North Carolina, there is a fee associated with that. So that's what's covering that. I'll let Brian speak on some of the household hazardous waste, but I do know that some of it actually has some value in other streams. So there are some things that will be dropped off that I know will be in the cost column, and some that will be in the credit column when they're disposed of. That was a program
Right.
that was shared with.
Right. There's depending on some of the items, there's different grants that are out there through the state that will help to offset some of the costs. One of the things that keeps costs down is the paint. Paint is something that can actually they can turn back into fuel. They have a company that they have a system where they're able to burn the paint and use it as a fuel. And so that helps to offset the cost. So there's a lot of things that you think, hey, we're just throwing it away. You're actually not. It's actually being used in a completely different environment to where they are able to recycle it and use it for other things. And so that is one of the things that helps to keep our costs down.
That is, so it's actually I think it's the oil-based paints that are used as fuel.
Right.
And then the latex paints can be repurposed
Right.
for other things like sealants and things like that. Is that
Yeah,
right, Brian?
they can repurpose it. The latex, some things they take depending on the quantities that they get. They can actually reuse it. They mix it and are able to reuse it as paint. Then some of it they use it in sealant. Some of it actually whenever they're doing paving in parking lots and things of that nature, they're able to use it in the breakdown of that to use it for a sealant. So there's several. It's not just something that actually, if you will, they flush it down the drain. This is something that they can repurpose and reuse for other things.
Okay, very good, very interesting.
So it is actually helping the economy, if you will, if you recycle, so that it can use it in other business avenues.
That's awesome. One more time, tell us when the event is, what time it is, where it is, all those important details.
May the 21st. Our time's coming up on us very quickly here. May the 21st from 9 to 1. It will be held at Stat Incorporated, which is on 321 South there in Hudson, right beside of the Caldwell County Fairgrounds. So you'll come in and we will have people there directing you. And if you're just there for the shredding event, we'll get you to that area and get you back out of the rotation line so that you're not having to work or be there where everybody else is working. If you're there just to drop off some paint, we'll get you in and out very quickly. So May the 21st from 9 to 1, Stat Incorporated on 321 South. So if you have any questions, please, there again, you don't hesitate to call our office.
Can we give our office numbers in
Yes.
case folks want to
Yes.
call? If you have questions about the shredding part, give us a call at the Register of Deeds office, 757-1310.
And for pesticides, it's the Caldwell Extension Center, that's 75828. I guess we know that. 828-757-1290. And I actually looked up the street address for STAT, and that, I got to put my glasses on, that is 2550 Hickory Boulevard, Lenore. So it is, and exactly like Brian said, right next to the fairgrounds.
Right. And our office, again, facility services, 757-3296.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for planning this very important event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Caldwell County Today.